I'm going to give a quick demo of how the underscore range function works. So we can type it like this, range, and for this demo we're just going to provide a stop value. So this function normally can take up to 3 arguments, a start, stop, and step value, which I've explained earlier in the blog post. But for the purposes of this walkthrough, we're just going to pass in this number 10, and we'll see how range sorts out that this actually is meant to be the stop value. So to do that, we'll step through the debugger. So I'll throw in a debugger statement here, and we'll run it. And now we can step into range. And so here we're in the source code for underscore, and we're in the range function. And in our case, we've only provided this value 10, which it currently thinks is our start value, but actually we meant that to be our stop value. So here's where underscore sorts this out. So it has this if statement that checks to see if stop is null, and for us stop is null, so we'll step into this if statement, and here we will set stop to either start if it exists, which for us it does, or 0 if there is no start value. But for us it does, so we'll set stop to 10, which you can see it's done here. And then we'll set start to 0. So this is the assumption that if the user passes in only one value, that value is meant to be the stop value, and so we'll start from 0. And so as we step along, then we'll see start is now 0. So start is 0 and stop is 10, and currently step is undefined. And here we check to see if step is undefined, and it is. So we step in here, and we will set step to the results of this ternary operator. So if stop is less than start, which for us it is not, because stop is 10 and start is 0. So since it's false, we'll jump over here and set step to 1. So now you can see step is equal to 1. Now at the next step, we are setting the length of the array that we're going to spit out at the end. And so to do this, first let's evaluate the inside of this statement here. So what we're doing is we're using math.ceil, which will give us the whole number that is greater than or equal to whatever we pass in. So for us, we're passing in this statement, stop minus start, divided by step, which you can see evaluates to 10, because stop is 10, start is 0, and step is 1. So math.ceil on 10 will give us 10, as you can see here. And then we're passing this and the number 0 into math.max, which will give us the higher value of the two. So that's obviously 10. So we're going to set length to 10. And you can see it's 10 now. So then we go to create our actual array that will return at the end, and it's called range here. So this is pretty simple. We're just creating an array of length 10 and all empty spaces. So now we have this empty array of 10 spaces. And now we're in a for loop, and we're starting from 0. We're going as long as the index is less than the length of our array, which is 10. And we're incrementing, and with each increment we are setting start to the old value of start plus the step. So for us, step is 1, so we're essentially counting by 1 every time. And so we can walk through this for loop to see how this works. So on the first run, index is 0, length is 10, start is 0, and step is 1. And so what we're doing here is we're taking our empty array, we're looking into the 0 index, and we're going to set that index to our start value, which is 0. So that's the first run through. Now we're setting index to 1, jumping back down here, and we're looking into the index 1 of this range array, and we're setting it to our new start value, which is now 1. And so here you can see that our array is starting to fill up. So now we have 0 in the first spot, 1 in the second spot, and then 8 empty spaces, which we will fill up as we continue to step through this for loop. And you can see this happening if I just quickly step through. Each step is the same as the last, and you can see we're filling up here. We're about halfway filled. Continuing on, almost to 10. And there you go. We have now a range array of 10 spaces, and here you can see all the spaces are now full, and they're filled with our range of numbers. So we're counting by 1 from 0 to 9. So now we jump out of our for loop, and we get to the end where we finally return the range. And there it spits out in the console.